everyone. Thank you for joining us for our next financial aid presentation at SUNY Plattsburgh. This WebEx is intended to provide you with some of the information that is needed to understand the end part of the process. So you're past submitting your applications and ready to really start thinking about how you're going to make this possible, the affording part of going to college possible. I'll sort of recap what we've talked about previously, and of course, anytime along the way, if you have questions, reach out to our financial aid office. We've got a fantastic staff of advisors and receptionists who can help you through the process. Myself and the director are readily available for your inquiries. So let us help you through the process. It can be very confusing times, and there can be delays, there can be hiccups. So we want it to go smoothly for everyone, and we'll help you through all of it. But to recap, as my screen catches up with me, bear with me one moment. What we talked about previously was where we needed to be for financial aid eligibility, and that begins with the financial aid application process. The application process begins with the FAFSA, so you're going to submit your 2017-2018 FAFSA application and your 2017-18 New York State grant applications. Those applications are the only ones that our college requires. If you're applying to other colleges, make sure that you've looked on their website or read their communications to find out if there's any other information they want you to provide to them to get you through the application process. But for us, we just want your FAFSA and your New York State TAP applications. Those are ready to go. If you have not yet submitted it, you can do so at any time. Just make sure when you go to the FAFSA website, you do select 17-18 because the 2016-17 FAFSA is live right now as well, but that's for students who are currently here attending college or attending another college for this current school year. Our office is getting ready in the next week or so to begin sending financial aid award letters. The one thing that is required before we will send you a financial aid award letter is that you are admitted to the college. So you've been working diligently these last couple months on your letters of recommendations and your essays and your college admissions applications through the Common App or the SUNY app. You've followed up, hopefully, in conjunction with support from your guidance office on any transcripts and test scores that need to be submitted to the college, and hopefully our admissions office is well on their way through the process of reviewing you for admissions and getting you that awesome letter saying you've been admitted to the college. We will wait for that decision before we send you a financial aid award letter. So if you've applied for financial aid but heard from us yet, beginning about a week from now, don't be surprised because, like I said, we're going to wait to communicate with you until we get that communication, get that notification from admissions that they have admitted you to the college. Our financial aid award letters are sent via email, so be prepared to keep an eye out for your email account that you use on your FAFSA. Because we will communicate with you for any financial aid notifications through your FAFSA email address. If you are further along in the process of being a SUNY Plattsburgh student, then we'll begin to communicate with you through your Plattsburgh email address. Okay, fill out the FAFSA application, you fill out your TAP application, become admitted, receive your financial aid award letter from our office, which is sent electronically, and there may be follow-up items that we need. Again, we'll send those requests via email, and then you can send that information back to us to sort of finalize your financial aid eligibility. I really think about this upcoming calendar. I know time flies sometimes, but it's really going to fly this tail end of your senior year and this coming summer. In less than 9 months, you're going to be here as a college student, and there's a lot that needs to happen between now and then at the college preparation level, as well as everything that's happening during your senior year. So there's a little bit of a to-do list, and I guess I just wanted to show you a calendar of what to expect on the college side. Coming up over the next couple months, you'll get our admissions notification as well as admissions notifications from many other colleges. you have several months. You have until May 1st, really, to submit your college decision and make that final decision. So you have a few months to talk to your colleges and do last visits and talk to admissions and financial aid and housing and all the offices and people that are important to you, helping you feel like you've made the right decision. In June, of course, is your graduation from high school, and then about the same time, you'll be coming up here to SUNY Plattsburgh either in June or July to attend college orientation. And that's not only a good opportunity for you to become very familiar with the campus, but also that is when you will register for your classes for your first semester and meet with your academic advisors and other things to prepare you for your transition from high school to college. Then, after you attend summer orientation, about a week after, you will receive your first bill for the college. For the first semester here, that is generally due a few weeks later, typically by the middle of August. Your bill for the first semester becomes due. And the end of August, college will begin. So really, within the next 9 months, you're not only going to have to figure out what college you're going to, but how you're going to pay for it and pay for it. So we're going to talk a little bit about that part tonight, how we're actually doing this, how we are paying for college, some of those options and resources that are available to you. Start by reinforcing the suggestion that you really take time to review your financial aid award letters. They'll come in various methods. As I mentioned, we send our financial aid award letter via email to the email address the student has provided on their FAFSA application. A concern to you, parents. We also have the ability for your students to establish you with a guest account. You can go to our Plattsburgh website and type in the words guest account in the search function, and it'll give you instructions on how your student can set you up with a guest account. By doing so, allows us to also send you as a guest user a copy of the financial aid award letter. And it can be emailed to 2 places, which might help feel more comfortable about making sure you get important information from our office. Our financial aid award letter will look very much like the one that I'm showing you as an example on screen. The first page of the award letter indicates the student's financial aid eligibility for each term, the type of financial aid it is, whether it's a grant or student employment or a loan, and then the totals for each semester as well as the total for the full year. And we also provide on our financial aid award letter an estimate of the student's cost. Now, it is just an estimate. Some of the costs have not been finalized yet for the upcoming school year, but it's going to be hopefully a very, very close estimate. And we provide that to you because we want you to have a very, very good sense of how much you need to be planning for the cost of college. And so we do the math, and you'll notice when we do that math in the example that's on your screen, that we include the assumption that a student is going to participate in all the financial aid awards that are offered to them in their financial aid award package, which includes student loan offers. So my first suggestion is to really make sure you review your financial aid award letters. And this screen, I'm giving you some examples of what to be looking for as you get those financial aid award notices from each college. Some electronically, some you'll get by paper, but you really need to review each type of financial aid that's offered to you. Understand the difference between free money and not free money. So grants and scholarships are what we tend to call free. You don't typically have to repay grants and scholarships, but usually there is criteria for receiving those awards and then renewing those awards year after year. Some awards are not renewable, so you want to make sure you understand if you're offered an award from a third-party organization like your local Kiwanis Club or from your college or from your high school. Is that award something that you're receiving one time only or something you can receive year after year? And what is the criteria for renewing that award year after year? I'll give you an example. For our Freshman Merit Scholarship, we require that the student either live on campus or at home if you're in the local area and can commute from home to the college for classes. So if you are a student who is traveling from out of the area to attend SUNY Plattsburgh and you're a recipient of our Freshman Merit Scholarship and you live on campus, you're in great shape. You also have to attend full-time to receive that award. Many students become interested, particularly come their junior or senior years, to move off campus and reside with friends in the local community. And that's a nice opportunity for them to experience maybe a little bit of independence that they have yet to experience. But that Freshman Merit Scholarship, remember, one of the criteria is that you reside on campus. So that award, no matter how strong a student your student has been for the last several semesters, that award will go away if the student does not maintain their campus residence. That's what I'm trying to encourage when I say really inspect your financial aid award letters. If you're being offered free money, make sure you understand the criteria for those awards. Read the print that explains what eligibility is for those awards, how to maintain the awards, and how to renew the awards semester after semester. Often there's a GPA requirement, so we require for most of our scholarship opportunities that students maintain a 3.25 or better cumulative GPA. That's important for students to know. It sets sort of a guideline and it sets a goal for them each semester to be able to maintain their awards. In the scholarship and grant opportunities, you're also going to potentially see in your financial aid award packages federal work study. That's simply an opportunity for a student to work, usually on campus or in the local community, and receive a paycheck for the hours they work, very much like what most of us do when we go to our jobs every day. Work study is considered a financial aid program because eligibility for it is determined through the FAFSA application and the review of the FAFSA results. However, it's a little bit different from the other financial aid programs like grants and student loans in that you receive the money until you go to work and work the hours to receive the paycheck. Therefore, it's really not money that's going to be used to help with your direct bill from the college each semester. Students really use the work study earnings that they receive to help them with their living expenses and maybe set some money aside to help with books in a future semester. Those kinds of things. That's what work study really helps with. So although it's part of the financial aid award package that you may see from the various colleges offering you financial aid award letters, it's really not going to reduce your college bill. It can help reduce personal expenses that the student may incur by giving them those wage earnings. Students will be part of your financial aid award letters from the federal government. All freshman students are eligible to receive up to $5,500 annually for their first year of college. So it'll be included as part of the financial aid award package as a resource that's available. Now, of course, you do not have to participate or accept the student loans that are offered in the financial aid award letter. They have to be repaid. There is interest involved. So very important conversation to have as a family regarding borrowing and choose to not participate in student loan programs. That will be a further conversation to have as a family, like how else are we going to pay for college if we decide loans aren't important to us or aren't something we want to participate in. A reason that I have found has helped many families in the position that you may be in where you might be looking at multiple colleges are some online comparison tools and offering you 2 websites as resources to help you do a side-by-side comparison. Now, we know why SUNY Plattsburgh is the best college out there and it should be your college of choice, but you may not yet have made that decision. And so if you're considering multiple colleges, and money is part of that decision that you're making, these 2 websites have very good cost comparisons. So you enter the data that comes from your financial aid award letters as well as data about your colleges, how much the college costs. And these 2 websites will allow you to do sort of a side-by-side comparison. It's not really just about the bottom line. If I offer you a financial aid award package and the bottom number says that I'm offering you $10,000 in financial aid, well, hey, that's great, but is that $10,000 all free money, like grants and scholarships, or is some of that $10,000 loans or work study? might require either then paying money back or having to work to get the money. Those are important things to know, other than just the bottom line total. This cost comparison really puts apples with apples and lets you see how much of each of your award packages are free money, how much are loans, how much are work study, how much therefore is left to pay out of pocket. So Future has a very good cost comparison website, as well as finaid.org, and their web pages are listed in the presentation. You can visit those if you'd like to do that side-by-side comparison as you get your different financial aid award letters for each of your colleges. Oftentimes, financial aid that you're offered from your college and the financial aid that you've sought out by applying for scholarships is not enough money to fully pay the cost of college. So that's really what I want to talk about tonight, because remember that calendar earlier, you've got about 9 months before your first college bill is due or past due. So that doesn't give you tons of time to find the money you need to get college paid for. You have time, though, because you are planning ahead. We're talking tonight, and you're going to work with our office over the next several months, help you through the process. But here are some of the ways to help you get through the paying for college part of going to college. Our college offers payment plans, as do most colleges, and a payment plan is a short-term way of helping getting the bill paid without having to incur an interest charge. And your financial aid award letters often will indicate your eligibility for federal student loans. They'll also advise you of eligibility for federal parent loans, and we're going to talk about both of those in a little more detail. And there are private loans, which are bank-funded or lender-funded loan opportunities, and we're going to sort of just mention those briefly here in a second. College payment plans are two of them. Payment Plan A allows you to pay half of the bill when it comes due. So your students will come here for 2 semesters each year. They'll attend during the fall semester, which begins at the end of August, and they'll begin a second semester called the spring semester, which begins usually near the end of January each year. So you will receive a bill for each semester, a bill for the fall semester and a bill for the spring semester. The fall semester bill becomes available usually in July. It comes due usually in August. So as an example, Payment Plan A allows you to pay half of the bill when it becomes due on its due date in August, and then would pay the other half midway through the fall semester, which is around October 20th. Same with the spring semester, the bill becomes due, you pay 50% on its due date, usually sometime in December, and then you pay the other half midway through the spring semester on March 20th. So that's what we call Payment Plan A. It just takes that bill due date and extends it till halfway through the semester, paying 50% at each time. We do have a $35 application fee that's non-refundable, but that is the only charge assessed with our payment plan. There is no interest associated with extending that payment onto a payment plan. So that's nice that you don't have incurring interest every month. Our second payment plan, Payment Plan B, is 4 months. So you divide your bill by 4 equal payments and the $35 application fee, but it takes your bill that's due August and extends it from August to August, September, October, and November. So 4 equal monthly payments, sequential order. So that's helpful as well because it breaks it down a little bit further and gives you a little more time to get that bill paid up. The payment plan is not an option for you. Then there are, of course, loans. And loans are going to be, quite frankly, the reality. For most students going to college, about, I think, 80-some% of students nationally borrow student loans. It's not necessarily a good thing, but it is a valid resource for helping pay for college. So I want to give you a little bit of information about the student loan programs that will be included in your financial aid award letters, as well as parent loan program. Federal student loans, which you qualify for by filling out a FAFSA application and becoming eligible through the FAFSA, are available in 2 types. Student loans are either subsidized or unsubsidized. So I said all students qualify for $5,500 in federal student loans during their first year of college. When the determination of eligibility for that $5,500, the calculation will result in the student qualifying for up to as much as $3,500 in the subsidized student loan. Subsidized is the better type of student loan because that means that there is no interest being charged on that loan while the student is attending college. So while they're in classes and throughout their schooling, as long as they maintain half-time enrollment, there is interest being charged directly to the student on that loan. That's what subsidized means. In addition to the subsidized eligibility, up to $5,500 of the loan may be unsubsidized. Unsubsidized, think of as unfriendly, because that's the type of student loan that has interest being charged to it all the while the student is attending and after college. So it becomes the more costly type of student loan. Very specific calculation that your colleges and our office does to determine how much of the $5,500 that you're going to be offered is going to be offered as a subsidized loan and how much is going to be offered as an unsubsidized loan. The calculation may result that you are only offered the unsubsidized student loan. Some of you may be offered partially subsidized, partially unsubsidized. So the calculation that colleges are required to do will let you know your eligibility through your financial aid award letters. And the decision that you guys are making as families is, are we really planning on using student loans to help pay for college? And if so, do we need to borrow the full amount of the loan that's offered? Can we borrow just part of the student loan that's offered, maybe just the subsidized and decline the unsubsidized loan? Those are the types of decisions you're making. Student loans, the terms of the loans are, I guess, as far as loans go. Right now the interest rate is reasonable. We're at 3.76%. Now that interest rate will change on July 1st. It changes every July 1st. It remains a fixed rate, but what that fixed rate will be is unknown until we get closer to July 1st. I expect that it will stay fairly similar to where it's at now. I would be very, very surprised this summer, with all the changes that are happening in the government and in our national economy, if that changes drastically. I'd be wrong, but it's been very, very consistent near 3.76 for the last several years. 1.069% is charged against each loan disbursement in fees. So the simplest way of explaining that is every time a student borrows $1,000 from the federal government, the government retains 1.09% of that money. The rest is delivered to the college. So every time the college receives money, they receive a little bit less because the government retains fees on the loan. They use that to handle the processing of the loan, to guarantee the funds, to deliver the funds, and to administer the federal student loan programs. So the rates are not bad, considering what the rates could be and what they've been in the past. Students repay student loans after they graduate. So assuming students maintain enrollment of at least a half-time status, at the point that they've completed their studies, they have a 6-month grace period, and then the loans enter repayment. You'll see a chart there that in the second year of college, students can receive up to $6,500 in federal student loans, and during their third and fourth year, they can receive up to $7,500. I don't mean to be stressing loans. That's not what I'm trying to do. Many of you are going to try to avoid student loans if possible and come up with other ways of paying for college. But for many of you also, student loans will be a necessity. So you just need to have an understanding of them and know what your options are regarding participating in the loan programs and not participating. Now, many of you, even if you accept the federal student loans offered in the financial aid award package, there may still be an out-of-pocket cost, a portion of your college bill that's not fully covered by financial aid, the free money financial aid that's being offered, as well as the student loans. So when you still need more money to help get the bill paid, you are able to consider eligibility for the federal parent, otherwise known as the PLUS loan program. So parent loan is what it sounds like. It is a loan that a parent can borrow on behalf of the student for the student's education. It's really important for you to understand that that loan will always remain the parent's debt. It'll remain part of the parent's credit history. It'll remain their debt obligation. Now, that's not to say that in the future, if a parent says to their student, here's the bill for my parent loan, go ahead and make the payments, you certainly can make those internal arrangements, family arrangements, but it will remain on the parent's credit and credit history. That's important because parents, you know, you're making a lot of other decisions in your household that involve credit, like refinancing and borrowing for cars and doing home improvements and things like that. So it can influence other credit decisions that you're making. So you'll want to have that in your mind as you're considering borrowing in the parent loan program. The parent loan program is like the unsubsidized loan in that the interest is charged to the loan for the entire life of the loan. So while the student is attending and afterwards while the loan is being paid for. So that continuous interest can add up, and you'll see here that the interest rate and the fees on parent loans are much higher than the student loans. So currently at 6.31 is the fixed interest rate on parent loans with more than 4% in fees on the loan. So that's also a little scary. Those rates are a little bit higher, and that obviously adds to your indebtedness. Here's some families saying, well, I'm just going to go talk to my local bank then about refinancing or a line of credit or a personal loan because I can get a better rate with my local bank that I have a good customer relationship with, or maybe do some searching online for lending options. And of course, that's absolutely an option for families to consider. Just remember that the loan programs through the federal government have an awful lot of protections and rights built into them. Many, many years of legislation and regulation that come together in offering these federal student loans and parent loans. So if you're going to be borrowing outside of the federal loan programs, just make sure you're working with a private lender, you're really understanding the terms and conditions of any debt you're taking on, and that it's going to suit your needs well. You choose as a parent who's borrowing a parent loan to repay the loan while the student is attending college. Your repayment begins immediately on the loan, or you can defer the loan until the student graduates or ceases attendance. If you defer the loan, the interest will still accrue while the student is attending, so you'll have that continuously accruing interest. You will get about every 6 months an interest statement from the federal loan program, so you have the opportunity to pay the interest as you go if you like, and of course that saves you from having capitalized interest. So that's a good idea if you can. Borrowers for the federal parent loan can only be a biological or an adoptive parent or a step-parent if that step-parent is listed as one of the parents on the FAFSA. So I make that clear that it has to be one of those categories of parent, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, a neighbor, a friend, a community member. Other individuals, although they may be supporting the student's education, cannot be a borrower in the federal parent loan program. If you have somebody external that is not a parent that is interested in helping support the student's education, there are such a thing as sponsored loans, so bank-funded or private lender-funded loans that can be borrowed by somebody other than the student and the parent. They're also often called sponsored loans that you can research online if somebody is particularly interested in supporting the student that way. So a parent is the borrower of the parent loan if they can meet the credit criteria. So like student loans which do not have a credit requirement, a parent borrower for the parent loan cannot have an adverse credit history, and that's a currently adverse credit history. So if you had a credit problem 5, 6 years ago, you resolved it, your credit has been in good standing for these last several years, then currently do not have adverse credit. You should be fine to be a borrower. They do a credit check at the time you apply for the parent loan. They look for a current adverse credit history. If you identified as having a current adverse credit history, they will offer reconsideration of your application if you submit an appeal that is considered, or if you identify somebody who can qualify as an eligible endorser, which is essentially sort of like a cosigner on the loan. and proceed with an application for endorser on your application. The payment loan can be borrowed. Remember on the previous screen, there was the chart that had a limit as to how much students can borrow each year that they're in college in the federal student loan programs. Parents can borrow up to what is needed to cover the cost of going to college. So, for example, if our cost this year is $20,000 and the student is receiving $10,000 in other financial aid opportunities, the parent can borrow the difference remaining of $10,000 if they want in the federal parent loan program. So there is a max amount, but that max amount varies based on the student's cost of attendance and other financial aid offers. So I'm going to continue. This is a lot to take in, and this is usually how questions that you'll have. Once you see your financial aid award letters and you give our office a call or send us an email and say, okay, let's go through these numbers together and see where we're at. We're happy to do that with you. It's absolutely necessary as you're trying to work through this whole understanding of paying for college. So if this all isn't coming together right now for you and making complete sense, it will once you have your financial aid award letter and we start to go through your actual numbers. I'll give you an example, though, because I really want you to see the difference between these various options. So I'm giving you Sam's student as an example. In his example, his costs are about $12,000 a semester. He's receiving about $5,800 a semester in financial aid. So what remains of his bill that is owed each semester is about $6,400. That's a bill. Now remember, though, our college has two payment plans. So if you are the parent of Sam's student and you guys sit down and say, okay, well, we can afford to manage the bill on a college payment plan, remember you're not being charged interest on that payment plan, although you will have to have the bills fully paid over essentially 8 months of that school year. You only have the $70 in application fees to sign up for the payment plan, plus the amount of the college bill. So in that year, for Sam's education, if you participate in the college payment plan, you will have paid out of pocket $12,950 plus interest. So for families, the payment plan is a very, very good option over that 8-month time frame. And for other families, that's just going to be not manageable. It's just too much money to have to come up with in that brief amount of time. So let's say instead you as a family say, well, we're going to be able to borrow through the federal parent loan program to help Sam's education. So that same bill for the year of $12,880, remember the parent loan is over 6% interest plus the fees the government charges. Usually standard repayment on a parent loan is a 10-year standard repayment. You certainly can prepay early without penalty, but in a standard 10-year repayment plan, that $12,880 really becomes over $17,000 because of those years of interest on the loan. I said that I was going to skim over private loans. Our office really does not give a lot of very specific guidance on private student loans. Families are certainly welcome to explore them, and we will participate with most private loan programs that are available, whether it's through your credit union or through a national banking or lending institution. Private loans can be very, very expensive, though. The interest rates on private loans can be significant. I'm seeing families qualifying anywhere from 9, 10, 11, 12, 13% on the private loans. So clearly you can see over a 10-year repayment schedule that $12,880 ends up being well over $20,000 because of that high interest rate charge. So private loans may be a necessity for your family if you're unable to borrow a parent loan or you've made a household decision that it's going to be the student's responsibility to pay for college. It can be a very, very costly endeavor because of the high interest rates that typically are found on private student loans. Again, something to talk with our office about and consider very early over the next 9 months, be that conversation and that thought process soon, so that you really have time to consider all of your options. This is time for me to remind you, as we mentioned in our previous WebExes, that applying for free aid is never a bad idea. Scholarships are a great way to help pay for college without you having to pay them back. As high school students, you have terrific staff in your guidance office who want to give you guidance on scholarship opportunities through local organizations and through your high school itself. Please make sure you're stopping by your guidance office and following up on any communications they send out on their website or through texting or through email about scholarship opportunities that you can apply for. I have 4 websites that offer very good scholarship search engines so that you don't have to look through thousands of websites. These particular search engines have very comprehensive databases, so you can input information about yourself and say, I'm a student attending college and I have this particular academic achievement and I'm involved in these activities, etc. And these search engines will give you output regarding all the scholarships that are available nationally, whether they're through organizations like the Coca-Cola Foundation or the Gates Foundation, or even in your local community or in New York State. It's a great way to look for scholarships. And I want you to remember, scholarships are available to students for a number of reasons. Obviously, academic achievement is often a component of scholarship eligibility, but there are scholarships out there for left-handed bowlers, and there are scholarships out there for individuals who write amazing poetry. So really, really take the time to do scholarship searches because you'll find any number of reasons that you may qualify for a scholarship. And think about all those organizations you're involved in, all those groups that you're affiliated with and you're involved with in the evenings and on weekends. So many of those organizations have scholarship opportunities or interest-free loan options or tuition waivers. But you have to inquire with them to find out if you're eligible and meet whatever criteria they have for offering scholarship and grant opportunities to college-bound students. And then your employers as well are a good resource for identifying potential money to help you go to college. Just a reminder, the process you're at now, admissions is reviewing your applications, and you're beginning to hear about our decision on your admissions to SUNY Plattsburgh. Look for that to come in the mail and keep an eye out for any follow-up information that we may be asking for. Throughout several months, you will have access to your My Plattsburgh account, we call it, and on My Plattsburgh, you'll have the opportunity to see what's going on with your admissions application and work through something called your admissions checklist. That checklist gives you the opportunity through the stages of the next several months to do things to prepare yourself to become a student at SUNY Plattsburgh, such as submit your housing application and submit your health records to our Student Health Center and send final transcripts and get your financial aid notifications and sign up for orientation and things like that. So that admissions checklist is really going to walk you through the various steps of getting ready to be a student. And you'll work through that admissions checklist on your My Plattsburgh account over the next several months. May and June is really when you're going to begin the actual application process. If you've made a decision to borrow a loan, you'll complete applications throughout May and June for any kind of loans and finalize your processes for getting the bill paid. July and August is when you'll get your bill from the college and have a due date on that bill. We keep in touch, as well as the billing office, throughout the whole summer with anything that needs to get done. Again, we send our communications via email, so we'll keep in touch with you to help you get through the process of getting college paid for. And the last suggestion really is to just be in touch with us. I standardized this presentation quite a bit, but there are exceptions to just about every rule. There are times when we can identify further sources of financial aid for a family who has experienced a financial hardship or a significant change in financial circumstances. There are exceptions to the rule of how much students can borrow in student loans if the parent has a credit problem. So can be exceptions to the rules, but we don't know that we need to offer you those exceptions unless you reach out and talk with us and let us know what concerns you have regarding paying for college. So here's our contact info. We've got a fantastic staff. You may hear from any one of us when you call and we pick up the phone, or you send us an email. We're happy to help you through this process. that for tonight. That sort of finalizes the process of going to college and paying for it. I don't see any questions have arisen throughout the conversation. It probably was a little too much information to absorb. So I'll go on a few more minutes if anybody has a last-minute question. Otherwise, contact info is there. Please reach out to us anytime over the next many months, and we'll help you through it. All right, thanks for joining me tonight. Any questions typing, so I'm going to go ahead and end the recording. Thanks so much, everyone. Good night.